to this 25 Rolls-Royce Cullinan Black Badge Series 2. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check it out how it looks on the inside and outside. So the Series 2 changes for 25 do update the styling a little bit. The Cullinan's Pantheon grille now has illumination you can see at night. The black badge, of course, means that the exterior bits are blacked out, but the Rolls-Royce treatment of the chrome is special, and it does bring a high-quality look to this finish here for the Spirit of Ecstasy and the other details. The projector LED headlights have been updated, and now there is this L-shaped LED DRL, and that's the turn signal as well. Down low are these slanted vents, and those are functional cooling. This paint job is spectacular. It's called Dark Emerald, and in the shadow, it looks black, but then the sun hits it, and that sparkling metallic flake and the green hue just come to life. This Cullinan has an optional forged yellow painted coach line that goes from nose to tail, and while the green on yellow may not be my personal preference, it does work for this SUV. And the black badge gets its own set of unique 23-inch wheels wrapped in Pirelli P0 all-season tires, 255 section front, 295 at the back. This Cully has optional forged yellow painted brake calipers to offset that dark emerald color once again. Looking at the profile, no updates here for 25, but the black badge does black out the door handles, the window trim, and that lower valence piece. Getting to the back end, the only revision for the Series 2 is to the lower bumper style, but not a lot, and the upper portion is unchanged. There are LED taillights and turn signals, and down low is dark chrome for the exhaust finishers, and we find 4 pipes stashed within. The Cullinan remains this tall, stately SUV in the class, and I like the differentiation, even if it's not my aesthetic preference, and it does fall in line with the rest of Rolls-Royce's lineup. My question for you is, would you even notice the Series 2 changes if I hadn't pointed them out to you? Answer that in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening the coach doors to peer inside this black leather with forged yellow accented interior, and it's got this starlight headliner, of course, for those shooting stars to really set off your cabin ambiance. Leather is just on every surface that isn't covered in this uniquely patterned carbon fiber weave. There are massaging seats, you've got heating, you've got ventilation, and this car has the optional Rolls-Royce bespoke audio system. Chrome here, one-touch windows, you name it. Stepping inside onto the lamb's wool carpet, so very thick. And then closing up the door, not with my arm, mind you, but with a finger on the button. And now finding behind my own seat at 6 feet tall, tons of leg room and foot pocket room. There's excellent thigh support. I've got terrific headroom, and the headliner is all in leather. Oh, and these seats are so comfortable, perfectly supportive and cushy, and my head is just resting on this fluffy leather pillow. There is also equipped on this vehicle the rear theater configuration, so you get this picnic table with the carbon fiber, and then you get your own screen. And here you can choose things like the massage for your seat, you can set the navigation for the driver. In the middle, we've got carbon fiber around the real metal air vents, and these plungers open and close those vents. There's a 4-zone climate control system. We've got 2 USB-C ports. There are all your seat settings there, and you can equip the Cullinan with a 5th seat. This one has this fixed center console as an option. More carbon fiber, hit this button, reveal your controller for your 2 screens, and then we've got the seat controls there. Down low are some cup holders that reveal themselves, and inside the console, under this soft leather cover, we've got these crystal glasses and a spot for, what would go in there? Perhaps a decanter? Where would you find a decanter? Well, you pop down this carbon fiber cover and you reveal the 2-stage refrigerator with its own crystal glass flute storage and your decanter, as promised. Oh, and one more thing to point out. There is a glass partition here between the cabin and the cargo hold, so the passengers aren't disturbed by the noise of someone loading luggage. That's just the Rolls-Royce experience. Now let's check out the front. And to close these coach doors, I just press on this button here, and it takes care of the rest. The driver door, much like the back, is covered in leather and carbon fiber. You've got your 4 one-touch windows, power adjusting and power folding door mirrors. My favorite part of that being that the door mirror adjustment is this itty-bitty joystick. It's so fun, I'm a child. Anyway, so you've got memory for the seats, you've got your power adjustments, heating, ventilation, massage for these. To get to the trunk, I press down on this button, and it is a clamshell opening, which is very impressive. And the floor of the trunk is lined in this thick carpet for insulation and for luxury feel. Oh, and you can't fold down those seats for more storage space, but this is a 24 cubic feet hold. It's pretty solid. There's leather topping the cargo cover. You get all that good stuff. Power close and power lock, of course. Hopping into the front, the door is going to close itself, but not like I would like. I would like to just put my foot on the brake like you can in the Ghost and have it close, but here I do have to hold this button for a moment. Then it closes for me. The steering wheel, it's actually a thicker wheel than you get as standard. This is an option in the 2 tones of leather. It feels amazing in the hands. You've got carbon fiber and chrome, some controls on the wheel for driving assistance features and for media. Beyond that, an update for the Series 2, we have this fully digital gauge cluster, no chrome surrounds. That's a deviation from before, and it does look more modern. There is also a head-up display, leather covering the dashboard. They tweaked the fascia for 25, so the infotainment screen has been brought forward to almost be flush with the glass pieces for the gauge cluster, and on the passenger side, it's just slightly recessed, and it's running a newer iDrive software, so it's quicker responding. It's got great graphics. It's customizable. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. You can touch the screen or use the Spirit of Ecstasy controller down here. On the passenger side, see this infinity symbol that we also saw on that rear console. That's for the black badge. This has a bespoke clock above a little Spirit of Ecstasy. More of that carbon fiber trim around. We do have these physical controls for your media presets, and then down here is a big volume knob. You got your hazards and door unlocks, physical controls for climate. I really do prefer that because then I can keep my eyes on the road and just adjust things, knowing where my hands are going to fall. And then here, this covers your 2 cup holders, or you slide it forward. And then under this one is an ashtray. Inside the console, we've got not a whole lot of storage for an SUV. You do get wireless smartphone charging when you plug it into this clamp here, along with 2 USB-C ports. As for the visibility, out over that long hood, you do need to learn the dimensions of the Cullinan, and you've got parking sensors and cameras to help you out. Out the sides, nice tall pieces of glass. The pillars are a little thicker, and the D pillar is a blind spot, but you've got standard blind spot monitoring to help out with that. The view out the back, especially through the rear view, is no issue at all. Overall, this cabin, much like the exterior, is a subtle refresh, but you've got meaningful changes with the technology. And the way this one is equipped with the yellow is a little too loud for me, but I would go with the open pore woods and a cream or a navy leather, and you can just customize that to your heart's content. The feel of quality, though, that can't be discounted. Now let's take the Cullinan Black Badge for a drive. All right, let's fire it up here on the left. What? A 6 3/4 liter V12 just turned on. And I only know it because I opened the hood and I saw it with my own eyes. But what you felt inside the cabin was a slight rocking. And what I heard was the chimes. That's it. The cabin is so well insulated from that massive motor. And it's hard to believe until you're actually sitting where I'm sitting and experiencing it. Oh my gosh. Hello, cabin crew. Thanks for joining for this first drive in the Rolls-Royce Cullinan Series 2 Black Badge. And now I'm going to put that giant engine to work by going down into drive with a click of the gear selector, which is probably the only thing in this interior that doesn't feel incredibly high quality. It's just plastic. But anyway, that's how we go into drive and roll on forward. I'm actually going to start by not going anywhere. I'm going to do a turning radius test with the wheel cranked here. And I'm going to pivot around in a very tight circle for this giant SUV, thanks to the rear wheel steering system. That is fantastic. And now let's listen to the turn signal sound. Oh, that is delightful. That is such A refined turn signal note. It just says elegance. But what about if I need to alert someone to their grievous error on the road in front of me with the horn? What is that going to sound like? Privilege. Privilege in horn form. And it does genuinely feel like a privilege to drive this SUV, to be in control of that 6.75-liter twin-turbocharged V12 with its 592 horsepower here in the black badge and 664 pound-feet of torque. That is an increase of 29 horsepower and 37 pound-feet over the standard, if you can even say that, standard Cullinan. It's still routed through an 8-speed automatic gearbox to all 4 tires in a beautifully smooth way. The power just builds so gracefully, and there really are only 2 drive modes in this Cullinan. You have what you start out with, and then you've got the low, or the sport mode. Low translates to sport in Rolls-Royce speak. They have their own terms for just about everything. And I really think they've earned that right, because the way a Rolls-Royce drives, the way I'm experiencing this Cullinan, is just like anything it on paper competes against. Bentley Bentayga, Land Rover Range Rover Autobiography, Mercedes Maybach GLS. They're all very smooth and quiet, but that is until you get in the cabin of this Cullinan and you're like, oh, that's what ride quality could feel like. Oh, that's how quiet an SUV cabin could be. And you're like, wait a sec, I thought this was a first drive, Miles. And yeah, I mean, it is of the 25 model, but really the changes, apart from the black badge coming back, are mostly aesthetic. And so it rides precisely the same as the 2 other times I've experienced the Cullinan. And that is delightful. I wanted another go in this vehicle just to remind myself how great it is as a luxury product. The way it just floats over the road surface, how serene it is inside this interior. When you go over bumps in the Cullinan, in all the competitors, it's going to smoothly take on the blemishes and try to distill it before it reaches the cabin. But in the Cullinan, it like pounds down those iniquities of the road surface until they cannot disturb you to any sort of degree that would unsettle you from the zen that you're experiencing while driving. You hear the faintest bit of the imperfection, and you feel a ripple in through your seat, occasionally a small puncture into the chair. But man, it is just on another level, and these seats just underline that. The padding is thick, and the chairs feel like I'm in the coziest armchair of a home I could never afford. And my driving position is excellent. Here at 6 feet tall, I've got loads of headroom above. The tilt and telescope of the power adjusting wheel brings it right to where my hands want to rest. The braking is smooth. Man, you just coast down to a stop. If someone had a beverage that they were holding in the back seat, it wouldn't even rattle around. Oh, and if I'm sitting here for a moment waiting for traffic to clear, I can press my foot harder on the brake, and it will hold that position even on this downhill. Everything about the way you drive the Cullinan just sends this clear message of take it easy, relax, just let out that deep sigh. And I know if this was my daily driver, that's precisely what I would do when starting the day or finishing off a hard day of work. I'd get into this cabin and I would just, even right down to the way you steer it with a single finger. Just gonna direct it here, there, and everywhere. That's the amount of effort it requires. That's the manipulation, but what about the motivation of this V12? We're gonna find out with a real-world 0 to 60 test. I've got my race box set up here to record. I'm going into the low drive mode. Foot on the brake, pinning the throttle, letting it go, and getting to 60 in 4.63 seconds. That is dynamic decadence, because even the way it accelerates isn't harsh at all. You barely feel the gear changes, and the G-force just melds you deeper with these seats. It's lovely. And then after you've picked up the pace and you're coasting along at highway velocity, the Cullinan just settles in with even greater ride compliance and that same tranquility to the cabin insulation. This would be such a way to get around town, to get to and from work, because those individuals don't drive to work. They arrive at the office. They floated there merrily. And all it cost them for the black badge was $454,000 to start. And of course, no Rolls-Royce Cullinan is not going to have a lot of options. This one brings the price up to just under $600,000. And when you're spending that kind of money, you aren't concerned with the fact that the fuel economy is terrible. 12 mpg in the city, 19 on the highway, and 14 combined. The target audience of the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, these are for individuals who spare no expense, and for them, they want the nicest, the most luxurious SUV, and they're gonna find it in the Cullinan. And the black badge, with its modicum of extra power and the further exclusivity over the standard Cullinan, is just the cherry on top. And let me know in the comments if you would have this Cullinan or one of its competitors, the Bentley Bentayga, the Range Rover SV Autobiography, the Mercedes Maybach GLS. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video.